What's good, world? It's your boy, man. It's your boy Gio, man. We back with another one, man. This one right here is crazy, y'all. It's about your boy Jay Z, man. It's not looking too good for him. Um, you know, he got two new lawsuits on top of that first one, man, that they didn't want to dismiss real quick like he wanted to. They said, it was kind of suspicious that he wanted to dismiss it real quick and see who it was that was trying to sue him. And they, of course, they postponed that. They said they can remain anonymous until the time permits. But he got two more lawsuits. Another one that's coming forward. Then also Tony Bugsby has a lawsuit against him because, this is entertainment purposes only. Do not fry me, y'all. Basically, what happened was Tony Bugsby had a group of team members that he wanted to get evidence on Jay-Z. Jay-Z didn't know that, and he thought that those were some people that he could hire to get dirt on Tony Bugsby. So he hired them to spy and get information and try to take him out, man, and ruin his business, shut his business down. And little did he know that those guys was working for Tony Bugsby. So he got a lawsuit for that too, man. And Tony Bugsby, he already said that, he got 130 something plus people that's coming forward that's going to testify against him and Diddy. So, it's really looking bad for him already in the start of 2025, man. It just hit 2025, and they already got something in store for your boy Jay, which is two more allegations, lawsuits, whatever you want to say. Trying to keep it as lenient as possible, y'all. But I also got to understand his lawyer messed up. Now, from what they say, your boy Jay, he got that paper, so he pay his lawyers on a salary yearly, so he don't have to worry about cashing out this and that when it's time to, take care of something. He already got that set up and covered, man. And what's going on word around town is your boy Jay Z is gonna be with Diddy at, man. It's the same thing that they doing with Diddy on how they did him, to get him in there. And once they get you in there, they got you. You know what I mean? So Jay-Z lawyer to come out and say that he don't know him, he never been around him, he has no ties to him, he only been around him in certain entertainment events and stuff like that is an understatement. I mean, you can go through everybody and anybody know who P. Diddy and Jay-Z is. And all you have to do, they so famous and so big, you can just look up Jay-Z and P. Diddy. Or you can look up one or the other and you're going to see both of them together. You can trace that back down to the early 90s. And it'll show you that Diddy put Jay on. He put him in position once Biggie and Pac was out. That's how Jay-Z came in and took over. It's looking real ugly, man. I'm going to say this. Your boy, he better have his ducks in a row. They saying that, Beyonce's trying to, figure out her situation with him. Because, she might ultimately divorce him. That's what Jaguar Wright is saying. She's saying that he might get divorced from Beyonce so that way she could save her legacy and have something to show for her and her family, and save as much money as possible ultimately and not be, incarcerated, man. But also they're saying that, you got to understand this too. If Jay-Z go down, it's going to cause a lot of turmoil. It's already causing that with Diddy being in there. If Jay-Z go in there, Beyonce divorce him, and he finally gets in there, it's a wrap. For all the artists, and I'm not going to say it's a rap, but they're not going to come out on top like they've been able to do working with him, man, because then they got to work with labels and stuff like that, man. And you already know those labels, unless you already booming and popping, I mean, some of them are, but it's going to be a hard thing to swallow because you got to understand they not going to let them get their name tarnished or their business tarnished. They're not going to let that happen, man. So Beyonce got to figure out her next move, man. And all I got to say is it's not looking good, man, because they bringing everybody up. They even talking about Blue Ivy not being Beyonce's daughter. They bringing that back up. Then, you know, his supposed to be son got a lawsuit going and may work with Tony Bugsby. He's been on different platforms and whatnot, and he said he just want to find out if Jay is his dad or not. He don't want no money. He don't want anything. But the only downfall of that is everyone was talking about the underage women that they all been dealing with. His mom would have been underage, which would have been about 15 when she had him. So of course he's gonna avoid that, man. This dude got a lot on his plate right now. He got so much that's been thrown at him already, man. And you know, I just want y'all to sit back and check this video out. I'm gonna keep it short and simple on y'all on this one, man. I ain't gonna bug y'all too much. Y'all gotta check this one out. When y'all check this video right here out, let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Let's talk about this. This is explosive, you know, really big. Your boy Diddy, I just want to say this too. Diddy feels some type of way. Nobody supporting him. So y'all remember this. And just know he can say and snitch and tell on anybody. And the first person I think he's going to tell on, I don't think he's going to tell on the executives, the big dogs that's up, you know, above him, man. I think it's going to come out on Jay just because of what his lawyer said. And that's going to make him feel some type of way. Allegedly, we heard that he reached out to Jay, and Jay ain't. He's not responding. Of course, they're going to say, why he going to respond for it? If he's in his bind, Jay-Z don't need to be in the bind too, and he need to stay far away. But, man, it's going to come back and hit you where it hurts because Diddy made all this possible and he know everything. So I'm gonna just sum that up and wrap it up on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, man. After y'all check this video out, let's talk about this, man. This is something that I'm probably gonna go live on because there's so much breaking stuff that's going on, man. And then y'all gotta understand the wildfires, man. Allie Carter, she even said about the wildfires was gonna happen to destroy some of these properties to eliminate evidence. So what's y'all take on that too? She's been right. Just like they saying Jaguar Wright's been right. A lot of them been right. Gene Deal, he's been on his stuff, you know. So y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this, man. It's explosive content, man. New headline, breaking news. 2-3 more new charges, lawsuits, rather. I'm not gonna say charges, lawsuits against your boy Diddy, man. I mean Diddy, well not Diddy, Jay-Z. I'm saying Diddy and Jay-Z because they like this, man. They super tight, man. So, you know, and you gotta understand Tony Bugsby is bringing these people out for Diddy and Jay-Z. So it can correlate to being for both, you know, on top of the ones that's right now that he's saying about Jay-Z. He's just trying to get Jay-Z in the works. Y'all gotta understand that. Some of those people are probably gonna say, oh yeah, Diddy was there too, or yeah, he participated, or he was, you know, whatever it may be. Right now he's trying to focus on Jay-Z so he can get him where Diddy is at. And wouldn't y'all think this would be funny if Jay-Z and Diddy got locked up in the same place? I'ma let that sit right there. Hit the comments, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, share this up, man. Let's get in the algorithm. Appreciate all y'all love and support, man. Y'all already know, man. Couldn't do it without y'all, man. And to the next one, man. Y'all stay safe, stay blessed, stay warm, stay happy. Man, let's get through this year, man. Good, man. 2025. This is a big year. Let's rock it, man. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man.
What's the description of these events? We don't know. That hasn't been laid out. So the government is saying, we will produce that to you, but we are planning on producing that on March 7th, 2025. So that's 8 weeks before trial. And that will include the court's rulings on pretrial motions, like what evidence will come in. So basically, the prosecution is saying, we really can't produce this enterprise letter and be accurate about the case until we know which way the court is going to rule on key pieces of evidence. The prosecution says defense counsel's proposal that the enterprise letter be filed prior to pretrial motions is contrary to the practice in this district and inefficient, given that pretrial motions could impact the substance of the letter. So again, they're saying them laying out their entire case and what they have, it's too premature. The court has to work out other issues before we can submit the letter. And the government argues that Combs isn't playing fair. Quote, the defendant was arrested in September 2024, and the trial date was set at the defendant's insistence for May 5th, 2025, a span of fewer than 8 months. The defendant is trying to have his cake and eat it too here by insisting on a speedy trial, but also insisting on deadlines in cases with much longer timelines. And by the way, speaking of the defense, Here is their position on the Enterprise letter. They write, quote, Mr. Combs is at a significant disadvantage. Defense counsel still do not understand the contours of the government's allegations, including who the government even considers a victim, and have repeatedly asked for assistance from the government. Unless and until the government is required to make trial disclosures, the defense will remain ignorant of the evidence it is required to meet. The result will be a fundamentally flawed trial. Accordingly, Mr. Combs proposes that the government file its Enterprise letter by February 1st, 2025. So that is less than a month away. That's just a few weeks away. So that is one disclosure issue in this letter. Also in the letter, we move on to notices regarding who will be called as expert witnesses and rebuttal expert witnesses. So here, the prosecution is proposing that all parties, the prosecution and the defense, provide notice of their experts about 8 weeks before trial, March 7th, 2025. And rebuttal experts, if there are any, 2 weeks later, by March 21st. So that is 6 weeks before trial. And the reason that you need to provide notice to the other side of who you're planning to call is because opposing sides need time to vet the reliability and the relevance of expert witnesses. In the law, we call that the Daubert standing, or briefing on Daubert. Now, the prosecution says here's the problem. Combs' lawyers have indicated they are not going to provide their notice of who their experts are until the prosecution first provides their experts. And the prosecution says that's inefficient. It won't provide them enough time to file challenges, and that is inconsistent with how things are done here. And speaking of the defense, they say, yeah, prosecution, you know what? You should present notice of your experts by March 7th, 2025. Then we'll provide notice of our experts for the first time on March 21st, 2025. And then, government, you can provide your rebuttal experts on March 28th. And despite the prosecution's argument, the defense is saying this is consistent with how things are done and what the federal rules of criminal procedure say. And there's a special rule about that. Perhaps both sides will debate on if the defense has to disclose their experts, only if the defense first requests the same from the government. Gets a little complicated, but it's going to be a back and forth about when exactly the defense has to submit their experts to the prosecution because, again, both sides need time to prepare challenges to those experts. From there, we have something called 404B 413 notice. So this is about evidence of other crimes or acts or wrongs that were committed by Sean Combs that may be used to show things like motive.
I gotta go higher.
Yep.
So I did. And I'm gonna keep going higher. Because after we finish with all of the pretenders and the fake black billionaires, we're going after the Lucian Grangers.
Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian. He's like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spend.
We're going after the Jimmy Ioveens. We're going after the Leora Cohens.
Jay-Z or Dame Dash?
Jay-Z all day.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. I don't even know him.
We have to.
Amen to that. Clive Davis.
And I financed Bad Boy Records. To see him, you know, the time that Whitney died, to so articulate why the party had to go on.
Lou Taylor.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on Lou Taylor?
She's a... and she should be... what she done to Britney Spears' life.
Do you believe that Britney was trying to do Diddy and...
Absolutely. All of those girls. All of those...
down, still riding with... Huh?
She took the money. $90 million bought their silence. And they had to protect Barry Hankerson, because if Barry went down, that would have tore the whole Houghton family to pieces. And then they would have just had nothing. You got to understand, these people, they make these wild choices. They hope that it turns out for the best. And then when it turns out bad, they take the money, shut up, and pretend like it never happened. Do you really think her parents want people to believe that they knew her death was foul play and they just took money and got quiet? That would make them monsters, wouldn't it?
Now, I will say that I do believe that her brother is innocent. Aaliyah was actually very close with her brother, and he actually moved away to Japan years back. And in my opinion, I do believe that he knows something, but I don't think that he wants anything to do with that family. What do y'all?
It's been 20 years since she died in a fiery plane crash, and serious questions still linger. Was she drugged before she got on that doomed flight? What really caused this plane to nosedive back to Earth just a minute after takeoff?
So when Aaliyah passed away, I was a young teenager, and hearing about the news that morning felt kind of surreal, like such a tragic and unlikely loss of someone who was so young and in their prime and had a thriving career. I never even imagined that there could have been some type of ill intentions behind what had happened. But now, strong evidence suggests that Aaliyah's death might involve foul play, with multiple industry figures allegedly tied to it. This rabbit hole seems like it runs pretty deep. And the more you dig into the details, the less it all adds up. This isn't just some fringe conspiracy theory at this point. People in the industry have been talking about it for years. There's even footage of celebrities who knew Aaliyah hinting at something deeper, almost like they knew the truth.
I just know that that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not. Because God don't show people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring proof. You know what I'm saying? For what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life. And it's so unfair. And it wasn't time. You know, it wasn't. I believe it wasn't her time to go because, from what I know, it ain't supposed to go down like that.
And if this is true, the implications are devastating, especially given the details that I'm about to share. You know, people have been saying for years that eventually the truth will come out. These industry stories always seem to be a little off, don't they? When the same names and patterns keep showing up over and over, you gotta wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Because let's be real, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And listen, man, I take every opinion with a grain of salt, but something is definitely off with the music industry. And at this point, it's something that pretty much all of us believe. When Mary J. Blige spoke out, you could tell it put her in an uncomfortable position. She hasn't even said anything since, and honestly, it's hard to blame her. It really seems like a dirty game that only a select few people really understand the inner workings of. Now, guys, take this next part with a grain of salt, because when someone makes a career out of exposing people, I tend to look at them with a little bit of skepticism, especially when it seems like they got a little bit of acting thrown in. And Jaguar Wright, to me, seems like she's putting on a bit of a show. And I heard her have a freestyle where she said she's the puppet master before. So I don't know, but for context, this clip of Jaguar Wright is pretty important. And there is some actual evidence to back some of the things she's saying here up.
Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened.
We were all led to believe that this was just some kind of freak accident. There was no possible way anyone could have known this happened. But I remember around that time, or maybe a few years later, Timbaland having this rant where he was pissed off talking about they had her on a freaking crop duster that was weighed down too much, and just the anger and passion in his voice, it just made me feel like something was wrong. But I was too young or maybe too naive to read into it a little bit more. But now we're peeling back the layers now that people are looking into it further, and we're seeing that there may have been some additional steps in place to not only get her on that plane, but to keep her from taking alternative routes, because she wasn't quite comfortable with the situation. And that's what her brother's about to explain in a clip from this interview that I'm about to play right now.
The video was shot in Miami, part of it, and then it was kind of added on that she would have to go to the Bahamas to shoot some footage. She really didn't want to get, when she saw the little plane, she really wasn't too comfortable with that,
Now here's the question. How did Aaliyah go from being adamantly against getting on that small plane to ending up on that plane and almost immediately losing her life? People who claim to be in the know are unfortunately pointing their fingers at Jay-Z and Hype Williams. Like I said earlier, I gotta give y'all the disclaimer to take everything Jaguar Wright says with a grain of salt, but here we go.
Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
So people are suspicious of Jay-Z because he had some type of obsession with Aaliyah, as some people put it. And he also met Aaliyah while Aaliyah was actually with R. Kelly. And on top of that, as a lot of you know, Aaliyah actually was with Dame Dash. Jay-Z was one of those guys who was courting her, but ended up losing the battle to Dame Dash.
So you and Jay was both getting at Aaliyah, obviously.
Everybody was getting at Aaliyah, bro.
Right.
She was like, she'll go to dinner with her, but she wasn't going to just be smashing. So that was like the big deal, like who could get with Aaliyah.
The true reason of Rockefeller's breakup.
But everybody knows that. And we were both. I
heard it, but I didn't.
Yeah, but they be trying to act like he was like really whatnot. He was sending flowers and doing all this shit that he was courting her. So we were both going hard.
Jay-Z really did not like Aaliyah, and it was well known within his inner circle that he did not mess with Aaliyah, but she was around a lot because she was with R. Kelly, who was collaborating a lot with Jay-Z, and this is a whole another set of problems that we don't have the time to go into within the scope of this video. Jay-Z developed such a disdain for Aaliyah, and it was so well known that when Hype Williams, who at the time was his right-hand man, was the sole reason why Aaliyah died on that plane, that's when people's eyebrows started to raise and they started looking at him and being suspicious about whether or not he may or may not have something to do with that going down. And the wild part is there wasn't even any extra people that got on the large plane with him. It was only Hype Williams. It's looking like dude knew what was up. Like, I'm not getting on that little plane with y'all. I'm about to get on this luxury plane and y'all stay together. Y'all, you've been together the whole time that y'all were shooting this video. So I want y'all to have this camaraderie and go ahead and fly together. I mean, damn, maybe whoever was behind this wanted to just take all of them out for some reason. Maybe they was on her side in the whole beef. I don't know. This is just conjecture and speculation just for extra added entertainment value. But my mind's just racing all over the place trying to figure this whole thing out. But check this out. In addition to everything else, the pilot that they hired was not given an opportunity by any other private jet airlines. He faked his pilot license. He had no credentials to even be flying that jet. Now get this. On top of everything else, not only did the pilot not have any experience, this was his very first gig, by the way, this guy showed up with coke in his system, what they found out later on after the crash, and dude was also drunk. So the dude was inexperienced, drunk, rejected from all these pilot hiring programs, and the dude was under the influence. What's the chances of all that lining up for one superstar to fly from Miami to the Bahamas? So let me break this whole thing down again. She was adamant about not getting on the plane. It was a real weird last-minute flight that everyone was apprehensive about. She had another flight arranged that was basically taken from her. She had a cocaine cowboy pilot who didn't have proper credentials, who had just had a felony drug charge, and she had to be sedated to get on the plane. This is a wild situation. And as far as the accusations of Jay-Z and Hype Williams, I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. But that's the narrative that's out there right now, and I'm just reporting the news. So y'all let me know what y'all think. If y'all got any other things that I missed that I didn't know about or didn't find out, discover in my research, you let me know. But until next time, I'm Sonny Bravo, Action Over Talk. I'm gonna holler at y'all next time.
Rihanna was trafficked to Def Jam. 14 going on 15 years old. Flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the fucking morning. In a hotel room, auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning. A 14-year-old girl. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone with no parental supervision. Her father collected a $500,000 check. She has the fastest in deal in Def Jam history. Miss Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter just donated $100,000 to the Busby alma mater. It's just listed in Forbes, and now she's donating to her husband's arch enemy's alma mater in Houston, Texas, where all of those families consort and know each other and country club together and go to Joel Osteen's services from time to time. Yeah. Matthew Knowles has been auspiciously quiet. Wonder why? If anything goes down with the Carters, it goes down for the Knowles because they live off of what's generated from that marriage. Or maybe Tony Busby's just doing all the speaking for them to make sure that their daughter can break away, maintain some symbol of, oh my God, I didn't know he was a monster. I will survive. Books, tours, terrible remixes, new footwear lines, and all of this. And
Beyoncé and Jay-Z owned an island near the island Aliyah crashed on.
Against Jay-Z.
That was interesting. When I was saying things not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. No, trophies came rolling in, buddy.
Tony Busby Law Firm just filed a lawsuit against Roc Nation and Jay-Z's lawyers Marcy Craw and Quinn Emanuel for violation of various state laws, including barratry and impersonation of a public official. So Tony Busby Law Firm is claiming that Jay-Z's company is involved in a legal scheme to stop him from filing claims against him and Diddy.
Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. You go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case. And there's nothing more to say.
The drama between 50 Cent and Jay-Z just hit another level, and it looks like the beef is officially on. So Jay-Z was pretty confident that the lawsuit from Jane Doe accusing him and Diddy of rape would be dismissed. Like, he really thought it was just gonna blow over. And he even publicly threatened lawyer Tony Busby that he would show him why he's different. But guess what? Busby is not backing down. In fact, he just came back swinging and filed another lawsuit, this time against Roc Nation, accusing them of playing dirty and using illegal tactics to block him from pursuing his cases against both Jay and Diddy. And as if that wasn't enough, here comes 50 Cent throwing more shade and pouring salt on Jay-Z's wounds. 50's been on social media taunting Jay over the lawsuit and talking about him in interviews, and it's clear that he's not holding back. And now sources from Jay's camp are saying he's not taking this lightly. The streets are saying Jay's been making shady moves behind the scenes, trying to mess with 50's business, just like he allegedly did when he tried to block 50 from performing at the Super Bowl.
It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, he's not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing.
So with all this going down, it looks like the tension between 50 and Jay is far from over. But will Jay-Z respond directly to 50's comments, or will he try to stop his bag behind the scenes? And what's really going on at Roc Nation now that Busby is accusing them of some serious stuff? Let's break it down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this is on your this is on. Yeah, it says I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for Kendrick. You know, I'm just trying to figure out if we're still doing everything the way. Because look, they will fall back. They like the NFL, they won't necessarily
be associated to that. Right.
So as you probably know now, 50 Cent has been trolling Jay-Z for years. But things escalated when he found out that Jay tried to block him from performing at Dr. Dre's Super Bowl halftime show. 50 has never been one to hold back. And when he caught wind of Jay allegedly pulling strings behind the scenes, he wasted no time turning up the heat.
I have no doubt in my mind that Sean Carter,
boy from the hood but got White House clearance. Obama said, chill, you gon' get me impeached. You don't need this anyway, chill with me on the beach.
Barack Obama.
I told Jay-Z the other day, you know, our lives are parallel. Nobody, I think, would expect us to be where we are today.
Oprah Winfrey.
Meanwhile, had over chilling in the projects, had out in Bed-Stuy, chilling on the steps, drinking quarter waters. I gotta be the best. MJ at Summer Jam, Obama on the text. Y'all should be afraid of what I'm gonna do next. Hold up.
Tyler Perry and Will Smith are going to be being held into account in the next year.
Confederate Army is fighting to keep Negroes enslaved, fighting, strategy, planning on this very ground. And now this very ground is owned by me.
If there's any chance that they can escape justice?
No. I'm praying for it. God always gives me what I pray for. They told me Diddy was never going to go to jail. I told them they was wrong.
Everything's for sale, got 5 passports, I'm never going to jail.
I said that shit years ago about how bad Beyonce breath was. But now when I say it, it goes viral. Shout out to Big Shorty, my man used to bodyguard her.